Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of the 17th of November, 2022. The current character challenge is Luchador Bane. This is a one-week repeat. The required characters are Wonder Woman, Nightwing, and Flash, who are silver, bronze, and bronze, respectively, if you're looking at the lowest tier to get each of them. His passive, I almost said her because I was looking at Wonder Woman, was Feel the Pain, which is upon tag-in, Bane has a chance to stun his opponent and receives a 25% boost to all damage for 4 seconds. He's got 1,100 attack and 800 health. Was last available on the 20th of January 2022.
And this is good news if you want Luchador Bane. And, good character. You might want him. It's bad news if you're hoping the challenge cycle was going to change and give us some of the characters that have been gone for more than 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's got low stats for gold. 1,900 combined is pretty darn low. At least most of it is in the attack. And he was the original glass cannon.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just a good card with low health. Back in the day, there's the implication that with a cannon, they have to do a huge amount of damage, but just be very fragile, and he was it. The chance of stun in his passive, it's somewhere well over 50%. I want to say it feels like 75%, definitely less than 100, but I'm not sure how much. And we talked about this in the Q&A from a couple of days ago, but what you're seeing in the video part of this recap is a change from the traditional loadout. And the traditional loadout we should probably talk about first is that you've got the League of Assassins Knives for a special 1 boost and splash damage. You've got Cloak of Destiny, which independently has a chance of stun, and it will boost his damage if he stuns, and if he crits. So the third thing that you do is either Razzle Glow Scimitar or Tantu Totem, so that you have a bar power when he tags in immediately. Tantu Totem is preferred because you can tag him repeatedly, and if you knock out the opponent, then you get your power back. Or if you have Batgirl as a teammate, what you could actually do is free up a 3rd slot for LexCorp Gauntlets to increase the crit chance on Special 1 up to 40%, so combine 90%, and increase your chance of stun up to 20%, up to 20%, or up to 30% additional to his passive, where you get the 20 from Cloak of Destiny, I think, and another 10% from LexCorp Gauntlets. I can't remember now. Or maybe it's the other way around. Actually, I should scratch that. Ignore all those numbers. I didn't write any of them down, didn't plan for it, so I'm just making them up out of my bum. So both Batgirl and Luchador Bane are good with this loadout. So the hardest decision it used to be was who to give the loadout if both are on the same team. With Necron Scythe, technically you could have both. Both of them could be sort of big bombs, but only one would do the splash damage. And the main danger of this traditional strategy was if you're relying on Bane to do all your damage, he'll stun most of the time, but he doesn't stun all the time. And if he doesn't stun, you have to be ready for him to eat some damage or maybe even get knocked out. And what you're seeing in the video now is the same team composition that we used with Hawkgirl and Batgirl, but we stacked the boosted stun damage with Bane having both Cloak and Scythe, and we give him Tantu Totem. And I guess I could go on about it, but watch the video from a couple of days ago where there's a huge amount of discussion about why this loadout works, I think, a lot better in the current meta of the game, where you've got so many characters that will have revives, or when you're seeing Astral Harness a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got a playlist on Luchador Bane, so a bunch of different ones where you can really see how the different team compositions and gear loadouts were effective for their times. And that link is in the description. And the most interesting thing to me is, on that playlist, there were 3 videos of him on a team before Cloak of Destiny existed, where you really could not maximize his potential.
So there we go. So this is the 130th week of a repeating pattern that started in May of 2020. We are 3 complete runs through our the 43-week cycle. We are the first week in the 4th cycle. So that's why we're talking about this being the sort of the start.
Yeah.
And that was arbitrary. That's just based off of where the pattern started in sort of our records.
Well, it's arbitrary for them, but it's not. I don't think you can really call it arbitrary for us, because this is, if once you go back before,
there was no pattern,
that it doesn't fit what was happening now. So that's the first part where it actually started,
Yeah, so there wasn't really like a special chance that we thought something would change here, but it just hasn't changed. So for us, it feels like it's going to be at least another cycle, even though we're kind of basing that on
nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. So if the pattern holds, next week should be Black's Night Hawk Girl. And just a reminder, this is 43 weeks, and like we mentioned at the top, 43 characters and 43 weeks.
Yeah.
But there is 23 challenge characters that are missing from the cycle.
There's 66 challenge characters total.
Mm-hmm. This week's multiplayer reward is Flashpoint Deathstroke, whose passive is Pirate Crew, which is Deathstroke has a chance on special attacks to be assisted by Flashpoint teammates. The more Flashpoint characters, the more attacks he gets on his combo ender. He's got 1,240 attack, 1,360 health, was last available on the 14th of April, 2022. That has been 98 weeks in a row of a consistent pattern there. That's 3 complete cycles of a 31 reward sequence and 5 weeks in a 4th cycle. And unlike the challenge cycle, nothing's missing from this. Next week should be the worst legendary gear Batmobile.
Oh, I was going to say, I was going to give a commentary if you weren't going to make
Yeah, but we're going to talk about how much it sucks next week.
Yeah.
So
he's got really good stats, high stats. Funky that it ends in 40 and 60 instead of like 50 or like a 00. And I think just by being Flashpoint, for nothing else, he's one of the best cards because he can take advantage of Flashpoint Batman's crit damage boost passive. And because there's only 3 Flashpoint characters, they are all the best Flashpoint characters. Mm-hmm. And they make a great team. So you could gear him to be your basic damage specialist with all the extra combo ender hits. And sometimes you take advantage of it anyways, even if he's not your damage dealer, because it builds up your power really quick. But my preference is that he is our special specialist because his special 1 becomes so deadly with the passive, which is, the getting the extra hits from his teammates. And it's so deadly that it can knock out most opponents, even if they have a revive, because it's multiple hit. So there's some characters that have really powerful specials, like Batman Ninja Batman, where it's multiple hit, but only the last hit can knock somebody out. So in a lot of ways, Flashpoint Batman's special 1 is better than Batman Ninja Batman's special 2. And League of Assassins Knives gives you splash damage and huge amount, 50%. One of the weaknesses, it would be against someone with Astro Harness, and that's relative, right? Because he's got a multi-hit special, which means none of the hits do so much damage as compared to somebody who's got a one-hit knockout potential, like we're seeing with Luchador Bane right now in the footage. And using Tattoo Totem with Flashpoint Deathstroke helps you wait out the invulnerabilities. But the problem is, if the opponent doesn't block, what you're doing is you're giving them a lot of power. You're building up power for them. So you might want to kill some time with Astro Harness with one of the other Flashpoint members on your team, or you could use your splash damage to do sort of indirect damage by waiting and knocking out one of the other opponents with Flashpoint Deathstroke's special 1. And I guess the other, I was about to say one of the main weakness, but it's not. The other thing that is sort of a relative weakness is against the Red Sun Green Lantern team, because the most powerful thing about a Flashpoint team and Flashpoint Deathstroke on a Flashpoint team is the boosted crit damage. And because you don't get boosted, or you don't get any crit damage against a Red Sun Green Lantern Red Sun team, then it just takes way longer. And the other commentary I want to make is we've gotten away from using a Flashpoint team, not because it isn't good. I still think the Flashpoint team is the absolute best team when you're looking at damage output, speed of finishing games, the ability to win every single game without having to take a sneak peek at the opponent's gears. It's just that we've been playing around with each week's multiplayer or challenge characters, trying to find a way to make other teams relevant, because most people don't have a full, well, I should say most people. When you're starting, it takes a long time to get a full powered Flashpoint team because 2 of them are multiplayer rewards. And so you have to have enough multiplayer seasons to fully promote them.
So there we go. In the store, we have the Blackest Night Hawk Girl pack for $24.99 Canadian. All these prices are going to be in Canadian because that's where we are. So that's where
we
can
are
check.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Eh?
And so that doesn't come with credits. Sometimes it comes with 100,000 credits, these sort of challenge packs. So it's a clue to what
Especially
next week's
that
challenge
price.
is.
Like that price is ridiculously
normally they're
high.
cheaper if they don't contain any credits in it. So, terrible deal, right?
Yeah.
It's already a bad deal normally, but it's more expensive with less stuff.
Right.
So, or not more expensive, it's the maximum sort of amount of expensive as it gets.
Yeah.
We also have the Icebreaker pack for $24.99 Canadian, and it's been that price for the past little while. We've had it 3 times in the since 2021, and in December 2020 it was actually $2 more expensive.
Right.
So, and that comes with Killer Frost, Killer Frost Regime, and a Luchador Bane, who are all challenge characters. So
this week's challenge character, even one of them.
Yeah. It's not a great deal, right? Because you're going to earn them at another time and when you beat the challenge, you unlock them in your store.
And Killer Frost Regime, I can't remember if she's the one that's missing or not, but I don't know that there's anything really that that makes it worth spending on this particular pack.
Mm-hmm. We also have the character bundle Flash TV. It's in its second week right now, $24.99 Canadian. And then we have a bunch of packs that have been around for forever. So the Survivor pack is in its 45th week. The character bundle Batman Universe pack is in its 49th week. The Most Wanted pack is in its 57th week. And then those 3 celebration packs have been around for 42 weeks, respectively, and then 44 for Aquaman, because he was celebrated for 2 weeks by himself.
Right. And we're going to make a conscious decision this week to not talk about what our Survivor is and start maybe ignoring it, because now that we're working on 3 different accounts simultaneously, they're all on different Survivor events.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like it's that useful to talk about it.
Yeah.
If we don't even understand it, seems like it's just based off on when you started.
Yeah. So there's nothing informative about it. I think we understand how it works. It's just that letting you know what our Survivor gears are doesn't actually mean anything.
Yeah.
Except I guess the only thing worth mentioning is that when you don't have internet access, what at the moment your game is trying to check with the server to see what reward you're supposed to have for Survivor, then the default one is Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm. So, the Phantom Zone is finished. Fight 62 is still broken. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was Sinestro, Green Arrow, and Scorpion. So this coming weekend should be the Joker, Nightwing, and Darkseid. And if you want to look at that cycle yourself, you can check out a link in the description to a Reddit thread from Devlin16 with the complete breakthrough cycle.
Right. And this is where we talk about current glitches, and if something changes, we will go into detail about any significant changes, which did not happen. Even if nothing changes, we still do more detailed review once a month, the first week of every month, and most recently that was our recap from November 3rd. The only thing that's definitely worth mentioning that changes this week is that the challenge reset method was confirmed to be working on Luchador Bane.
Mm-hmm. And so there we go. To finish up, we'd like to give a huge thank you to all the folks who support us on Patreon. That is BomboBen, Consul Peasant, and Edwoon at the top tier Last Word, Sinemac and Mohammed Albshaiti at the Your Message Here tier, Shawn Farrell, Daniel Simonson, Aaron Maule, Michael DeVries, Brandon C., Irvin Ruiz, Eddydoo, and Hoshi127 on the credited level, and Chris Wolff, Scarlet, Dani, Awesomegamer241, Pavu RS, Gavin, Mallott, and Isfar E, the gratitude level. Thank you so much for your support, and thanks so much to all of you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Komoda.